Hello everyone, welcome to today's question and answer session where I'll be answering your questions about solar system design, installation and maintenance. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below and I'll do my possible best to answer them. And also don't forget to let me know where you're watching from. All right, question number 1. How do I determine the number of batteries to use for my solar setup? So, for you to know the number of batteries to use for your solar setup, you must first of all know the total daily energy consumption of your loads. It is from your total daily energy consumption that you use to size your battery bank and also size the number of panels that will be able to generate the energy that will be stored in your battery bank. So, for example, if our total daily energy consumption is 1,500 watt hour or 1.5 kilowatt hour. From here, we can size the number of batteries that will be able to store this energy that we need. So step 1, for us to determine the number of batteries, step 1, we take this 1,500 and divide it by 0.9, which is the inverter efficiency. So if we take 1,500 watt hour divide by 0.9, 90%, that is the inverter efficiency is 0.9. So let's see what this will give us. Will give us 1,667 watt hour. Then step 2, this is 1. Then step 2, we divide this answer by the temperature compensation factor of also 0.9. So if we divide that by 0.9, that is 1,667 divided by 0.9. This will give us 1,852 watt hour. So this will now be step 3. Step 3, we now multiply this by our days of autonomy. The days of autonomy are the days you want the battery bank to sustain your loads when there is no charging input. That is, there's no charging from solar, from your generator, or from the grid. But for this example, we are making use of 1 day of autonomy. So if we multiply this figure by 1, it will still give us the same 1,852 watt hour. But if your days of autonomy, you have 2 days of autonomy, 3 days of autonomy, you multiply this by 2 or by 3. So the next step, which is step 3, we now divide this one, 1,852 watt hour, by our DOD. The DOD there is the depth of discharge. So we divide 1,852 watt hour by, let's take our DOD to be 0.6. So this will be 1,852 divided by 0.6. We will have 3,087 watt hour. So step 4, which is the next step, we will now divide this value by our system voltage. That is the battery bank voltage. What voltage system are you going to use? So if we choose 12 volt, it means we are going to use a 12 volt inverter. If we choose 24 volts, we are going to use a 24 volts inverter. And if we choose 48 volts, we are going to use a 48 volts inverter. So this will now be, let's take 24 volts. It will be 3,087 watt hour divided by 24 volts. So this will be 3,087 divided by 24. So this will give us 128.6 amps hour. So this is approximately 129 amps hour, or we can just say 130 amps hour. So this is the size of battery bank we need. So this will be 24 volts, 130 amps hour battery. So if we can get a battery that is rated 130 amps hour, the battery bank will look like this. We'll have two batteries because it's a 24 volt system, and we want to use 12 volt batteries. So this is positive, negative. So this one is 12 volts, 130 amps hour, 12 volts, 130 amps hour. So we connect in series. So if we connect in series, what we'll be having, this is our positive terminal, and this is our negative terminal. So the battery bank, if we connect in series, voltage will double, but capacity in amps hour will remain the same. So we will have, we will have 24 volts, 130 amps hour. So this is the size of battery bank we need for 1,500 watts hour or 1.5 kilowatt hour load. Question number 2. How many solar panels do I need for a 24 volt, 400 amps hour battery bank? So the battery bank is 24 volts, 400 amps hour. So we want to know the number of panels we can use for this battery bank. So the first thing is to know the energy that is stored in this battery bank. So it will be 24 volts multiplied by 400 amps hour. So this will be 24 multiplied by 400 will give us 9,600 watts hour. So we want to know the number of solar panels. The next step is that we will multiply this by our depth of discharge. So let's assume this is a lithium battery or a flooded battery. So we are going to use 70% DOD. So let's take, that is 0.7. So this will be 9,600 watts hour multiplied by 0.7. So 9,600 multiply 0.7. This will give us 6,720 watt hour. Then the next step is that we will divide this by the performance ratio of our solar panels. We are using 65%, which is 0.65. So this will be 6,720 watt hour divide 0.65. So this will give us 6,720 divide 0.65. This will give us 10,338 watts hour. So the next thing, we are going to divide this value by the peak sun hours. What is the peak sun shine hours in your location? So let's take 6 hours. Let's assume the peak sun hours is 6. If yours is 3, you put divide by 3. If it is 3.5, you put 3.5. If it is 4 hours, you put 4 hours. If it is 5 hours, you put 5 hours. But for this calculation, we are using 6 hours as our peak sun hours. So this will be 10,338 divided by 6. We will have 1,723 watts. The hour will cancel. This will cancel. So we are left with watts. So this is the size of solar panels we need, 1,723. Now we'll divide this by the power rating of the solar panel we want to use. So you may decide to use 200 watts, 300 watts, or 400 watts. So let's use 320 watts solar panel. So this will be 320 watts. This watts will cancel. So it will now be 1,723 divided by 320 watts. 1,723 divided 320. So this will give us 5.38. So approximately we need 5 pieces of 320 watt solar panels. So these are the number of solar panels we need to charge a 24 volt 400 amps hour battery bank at 70% DOD. So you can make yours 60%, 80%, or 75%, depending on the DOD you want to choose. Question number 3. Between series and parallel connection, which one is better for our solar panels? That is what many people are asking. Which one is better, series, parallel? Now, the two of them are the same, depending on you connect your solar panels in series or in parallel. You are connecting them to match with the parameters of your solar charge controller and the battery bank you want to charge. So it is from the specifications of your charge controller that will determine whether you are going to connect them in parallel or in series. But if you are using a PWM charge controller, most of your connections will be in parallel because the PWM charge controller cannot accept high voltage from the solar panels and step it down to charge the battery bank efficiently. There will be a lot of losses. But the MPPT charge controller can receive high voltage from the solar panels and step it down to charge either your 12 volts, 24 or 48 volts battery bank. So the two of them are the same. Let me give you an example. If we have, for example, we have two solar panels. Here is positive, negative, positive, negative. And the open circuit voltage of these panels, their open circuit voltage, let's take 36 volts. And their short circuit current is, let's say, 8 amps. So we have 36 volts here and also 8 amps. So if we connect these panels in series, what will be the energy production? So in series, voltage will double, but current will remain the same. So if we connect in series, it will be 36 volts multiplied by 2. So the voltage will now be, this is positive, negative. The voltage will be 72 volts. Then the current will remain the same, which is 8 amps. So if we want to know the power, the power of this panel, what this panel can generate, we multiply 72 by 8. 72 by 8, this will give us 72 volts multiplied by 8 amps will give us 576 watts. Then if another person, this is the choice for Mr. A, then Mr. B now decides to connect these solar panels in parallel. This is series connection. And he decides to connect them in parallel. You have the first solar panel here and the second solar panel with the same specifications. 36 volts, 8 amps, 36 volts, 8 amps, and here is positive, negative, positive, negative. Then they are connected in parallel. Parallel is positive to positive, negative to negative. So we have our negative line here. This will come here. That's the positive terminals of all the panels will go together. Then we have the negative terminal here. We'll go here. So this is what we have. We have negative here and we have positive here. So what will now be the output parameters of this solar setup? That is this parallel connection. In parallel connection, voltage will remain the same, but current will increase. So it will still be 36 volts, but the current will now be 8 times 2. That is, the two of them are connected in parallel. So you add their currents together. 8 plus 8, or 8 times 2. 8 plus 8 is 16 amps. So we have, what we have here now is 36 volts multiplied by 16 amps, which is equal to 36 multiplied by 16. We still have the same value, 576 watts. So you can see that there is no difference. That is in terms of the power output. The only difference you encounter is that here you are going to use larger cables because you are having high current output. Since you are connecting in parallel, the current will increase. So you are going to bring a cable or connect these panels to a cable that will be able to carry the amount of current that the solar panels will be producing. But here, for the series connection, you will use smaller cable as compared to this parallel connection. So the major difference here is that here you will use large cables, here you will use smaller size of cables. So if you connect solar panels either in series or in parallel, their power output will still remain the same. Question number 4. How can I size an MPPT charge controller for a 24-volt battery bank using 6 pieces of 300-watt solar panels? So we have 6 pieces of 300-watt solar panels. So it will be 300 watts multiplied by the 6 pieces. We have 300 multiplied by 6. This will give us 1,800 watts. This is the total power capacity of these solar panels. They are rated 300 watts and they are 6 in numbers. So 6 in number, if you multiply 300 by 6, you have 1,800 watts. So what size of MPPT charge controller are we going to use for these solar panels to charge a 24 volts battery bank? So for MPPT charge controller, we divide the power, the total power of the solar panels by the charging voltage of the battery bank. So the charging voltage for a 24-volt battery bank is 28.8. Remember, the one for 12 volts is 14.4. So for 28 volts, it is 28.8 volts. So what we are going to do is 1,800 watts divided by 28.8 volts. So we have 1,800 divide 28.8 volts. This will give us 62.5 amps. So the size of charge controller we need is 62.5 amps. We will multiply this by our safety factor of 1.2 for choosing a charge controller. So it will be 62.5 multiplied by 1.2. We will have, this will give us 75 amps. So approximately, we will need an 80 amp MPPT charge controller. So this is the size of charge controller we need, of MPPT charge controller we need to charge a 24-volt battery bank using 6 pieces of 300-watt solar panels. Question number 5. What is the difference between 12 volts and 24-volt inverter? 12 volts, the difference between 12 volts and 24 volts inverter. So for us to look at the differences, we will look at the voltage input. That is DC input voltage. Then the next one, we will look at the efficiency. We look at wire size and, power, the power capacity. Now, for the DC input voltage, this is DC input voltage. For a 12 volts inverter, you will need to size your battery bank to give you 12 volts. For 24 volts, you need to size your battery bank to give you 24 volts if you are using a 24 volts inverter. In terms of efficiency, the efficiency of a 24 volt setup, that is inverter or 24 volt setup, is higher than that of a 12 volt setup. In terms of wire size, if you are using a 24 volt system, your size of cables will be smaller as compared to when you're using a 12 volt setup. For 12 volt inverter, the cable size will be larger than the 24 volt setup. Then for power capacity, the 24 volt setup will give a higher power output as compared to the 12-volt setup. So these are the few differences that we have between the 24 volts and 12 volts inverter. Question number 6. How do I know when to connect solar panels in series or in parallel? How do I know if I'm to connect the solar panels in series or in parallel? Like I mentioned earlier, you look at the PV input parameters of your inverter, of your solar charge controller. Sorry, you look at the PV input parameter of your solar charge controller, not inverter, unless you're using a hybrid inverter. But even the hybrid inverter, you have, the solar charging parameters, because the hybrid inverter has an inbuilt charge controller. So you are looking at the PV input parameters of that charge controller. So it is the PV input parameters, that is the PV input voltage and the PV input current, that will guide you how to size your, how to connect your solar panels. That is your configuration, whether it will be parallel, whether it will be series, or it will be series parallel connection. So always look at the data sheet of your solar charge controller, because that is what will guide you in connecting your solar panels. Then we have question number 7. Can I use 2 pieces of 320 watt solar panels for a 12-volt battery bank? Can I use 2 pieces of 320 watt solar panels for a 12-volt battery bank? The answer is yes if you are using an MPPT charge controller, but no if you are using a PWM charge controller. Why? 320 watts panel, the open circuit voltage or the maximum power voltage is high. So if you are using that voltage, some of them, they are about 36 volts, some even up to 40 volts. So if you are using that high voltage to charge a 12-volt battery bank using a PWM charge controller, the charging will be inefficient. In some cases, the charger, the battery will not be charged, even when you have even when the intensity of sunshine is high. The charging will not be efficient. Why? The PWM charge controller cannot convert that excess voltage, step it down to charge your 12 volts battery. So if you're using an MPPT charge controller, yes, you can use 2 pieces of 320 watt solar panels to charge your 12 volts battery bank. But if you are using a PWM charge controller, the answer is no. So the panels you should use, if you're using a PWM charge controller, should be 80 watt panel, 100 watt panel, 150 watt, 120, 130, or 180, 190 watt panel, or 200 watt panel. But the 200 watt panel should be a 12 volt panel. Don't use a 24 volt panel to charge a 12 volt battery bank. The charging using a PWM charge controller will be inefficient. So if you have these high power solar panels that their power rating is high, you should know that most of them, their voltage is also high. So using it to charge small low voltage battery banks is not too efficient. So if you want to do that, go and get an MPPT charge controller. Then we go to question number 8. Question number 8. Can I use a generator to charge my battery bank? If yes, what size of generator should I use? You can use your generator to charge your battery bank, either through the inverter, because most of the inverters, they have inbuilt AC chargers. So you can connect that inverter, you can connect your generator to the inverter, and you can use that generator to charge your battery bank. You can also use an external AC charger to charge the battery bank, but the parameters or specifications of the charger should match with the specifications or the parameters of your battery bank. So if you are using an external AC charger to charge a 12 volt battery bank, that charger should be able to charge that is the output voltage, the charging voltage should be able to charge a 12 volt battery bank, which is about 14.4 volts. And also, you should be able to set the current. Then, you should know that it is not all chargers you can use to charge a solar or a deep cycle batteries. Their chargers are different. Their charging algorithm is different. That is why they have about 4 stages of charging: the bulk charging, the absorbent, the float charge, and the equalization charge. So that charger should have these this algorithm, so that it will be able to safely charge your deep cycle battery. If you use the normal charger they are using to charge, the electricians are using to charge car batteries, if you use them, most of them will destroy your batteries, because they cannot regulate and they cannot control the charging of that battery. So even when the battery is full, they will still be sending high voltage or high current to the battery. And when you touch the body of the battery will become hot, which is not too good for a battery. It is not good for your battery bank to be hot, because that high temperature will make your battery to become weak. So always check to see that the charging parameters matches with your battery bank charging requirement. Now, if you want to use a generator to charge your battery bank using an inverter, the size of generator should be ×2 or ×3 the size of your inverter. So if you have a 2 kilowatts inverter and you want to use a generator to charge your battery bank using the inverter, that generator size should be at least 4 kilowatt. That is 4 to 6 kilowatt. That should be the size of your generator. So the size of your generator, once again, should be ×2, or the size should be ×2 or ×3 the size of your inverter. Then we have question number 9. How do I calculate my total daily energy consumption? I mentioned this earlier, that for you to calculate your total daily energy consumption, you must know the power rating of your loads. All electrical appliances, they are rated in watts. We call it power, and the units for power is watts. So if you know the power rating of your loads, for example, the power rating of your load is 100 watts, and you want to know the total daily energy consumption of this load, you will ask yourself, how many hours am I using this load per day? If you are using this load for an average of, let's say, 2 hours, you multiply this power rating by your runtime hours, which is 2 hours. So if you multiply 100 watts by 2 hours, you'll be having 200 watts hour. So this is how to calculate the total daily energy consumption of your loads. So if you have different loads, you have ceiling fan, you have AC, you have refrigerator, all those loads, you go to them individually, take their power rating and their runtime hours, you calculate them individually. At the end of the day, you sum up their daily energy consumption to have your total daily energy consumption. So this is how to calculate your total daily energy consumption. Then question number 10, which is the last. Do you have any guide on how to size a solar power system? Yes, I have a PDF that will guide you on how to properly size a solar power system. Step-by-step guide on sizing your first solar power system. So if you need the PDF, you click, there's a link in the description of this video. If you click the link, you can, get the PDF document. But it is not free. You have to pay something as a way of supporting my work, of supporting what I'm doing. So you can get it. And if you click the link on the description of this video, you can get the PDF. So thank you once again for joining this question and answer session. Remember, if you have any question, please drop those questions in the comments below. And don't forget to let me know where you're watching from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please, I beg you, please just hit the subscribe button so that you can get my videos, and the notification button anytime I post a video or whenever I go live to answer questions. You'll be notified by YouTube that I am live or I have dropped a new video. So also like this video, share and comment. Thanks very much for watching. See you in my next video.